Something happened to you recently that has never occurred in the entire recorded history of spiritual warfare. Not once in thousands of years of human existence has a soul been pushed to the exact breaking point you reached, and chosen complete, absolute silence. Every ancient text predicted that under this level of pressure, a person would either collapse or retaliate. You did neither. You simply went still, and that stillness, that one decision to say nothing, shattered something in the unseen world that could not be rebuilt. The universe paused. Everything shifted because of you. Across every spiritual tradition ever recorded, silence under attack has been considered nearly impossible for a wounded soul. The Vedic scripts warned that, when betrayal cuts deep enough, even the most disciplined mind breaks. The Essene scrolls described it as the final human weakness, the inability to stay quiet when falsely accused. Mystics from every civilization agreed that reactive defense was simply human nature, unavoidable and expected. Yet here you stand, having defied what every cosmic record said was impossible. You broke a pattern older than civilization itself. That is not a small thing. That is a seismic spiritual event. Think back to that specific moment. You knew the truth. They were spreading lies, and every nerve in your body screamed to respond. Your reputation was being painted over with someone else's narrative. Friends were watching. People were forming opinions. The easiest, most human thing would have been to fight back with words, evidence, screenshots, explanations. But something deeper in you said no. You made a moral decision that most people never find the courage to make. You chose to protect your peace over protecting your image. That single decision was not weakness. It was the most powerful thing you have ever done. What you do not yet fully understand is that your silence was never unnoticed. Long before you made that choice, forces both dark and divine had already been studying you. Darkness watched, hoping your restraint would crack, because a reacting soul is an easily manipulated soul. Every time you almost responded and pulled back, something demonic lost its grip on the situation. Simultaneously, angelic intelligence was documenting every moment of your discipline. There are realms where your name was already being spoken before this moment arrived. You were being observed, tested, and recorded across dimensions you cannot yet see with human eyes. This was not the first time you were tested this way. Recall the situation where someone took credit for your work and you stayed composed. Remember when you were excluded deliberately and you never begged for entry. Think about when your loyalty was questioned by someone whose loyalty to you was already broken. Each of those moments was a structured trial. Each one was designed to measure how far your integrity could hold under increasing weight. You passed every single one without fully realizing you were being evaluated. The trials were not random life events. They were carefully placed examinations with cosmic consequences attached to every outcome. Because of how you moved through those trials, something extraordinary happened in the unseen order. Higher intelligences, beings who have observed millions of souls across thousands of generations, classified you differently. You were removed from the category of ordinary and placed into a file that very few humans ever reach. They describe souls like you as rare and structurally dangerous to systems built on manipulation and chaos. You are dangerous not because you attack, but because you cannot be provoked into destroying yourself. A soul that cannot be baited is a soul that cannot be controlled. That makes you one of the most powerful forces currently walking this earth. At the precise moment, you chose silence over retaliation. Something beyond human comprehension witnessed it. Ancient texts describe this as the moment when the divine gaze fully fixes itself upon a single soul. Archangels who govern truth and justice turned their attention completely toward you. God, however you understand that word, saw not just your action, but the depth of the intention behind it. You were not silent out of fear or defeat. You were silent because something inside you already knew that truth does not need a lawyer. It defends itself. That knowing, at that level of pressure, is what called heaven's full and undivided attention directly to you. Following that divine witness, a decree was issued, not written in any human language, not announced through any earthly channel, but felt in the fabric of reality around your life. The universe activated something that had been sealed inside you, waiting for exactly this moment of demonstrated readiness. Doors that were spiritually locked began to unlock. Alignments that seemed permanently broken began to repair themselves. People who were meant to be removed from your path began to exit without conflict. This was not coincidence, and it was not luck. A cosmic decision was made on your behalf because your behavior proved you are finally ready to carry what was always meant for you. You are not who you have been told you are. The labels placed on you by people who could not understand your stillness were never accurate. You are an ancient soul, one that has moved through multiple chapters of existence carrying the same core of unshakable integrity. In celestial records, you are classified as a warrior, not of violence, but of truth. Your weapon has always been composure. Your armor has always been silence. The reason darkness worked so hard to provoke a reaction from you is because it already knew what your silence would activate. You were never the victim in this story. You were always the architect of its ending. Now that your true identity has been activated, your mission becomes clear. You were not placed in these specific circumstances by accident. You are here to demonstrate, through the way you live, respond, and carry yourself, that integrity is still possible in a world that has largely abandoned it. Every time you choose silence over chaos, you are anchoring a frequency of truth into the environments you move through. Your presence alone begins to expose what is false simply because authenticity and deception cannot coexist at close range. Your mission is not loud. It requires no announcement. You simply have to keep being exactly what you already proved you are, because the decree has been issued and your mission is now active. The material world begins reflecting the spiritual shift. Opportunities that were being held in a kind of divine escrow begin releasing toward you. Financial clarity begins replacing confusion. Relationships that serve your growth begin appearing, while those built on imbalance quietly dissolve. Health, mental clarity, creative inspiration, all of these begin moving in your favor, not because you chased them, but because you aligned yourself through discipline. The universe does not reward noise. It rewards demonstrated readiness. Your silence was the proof. What is coming toward your life now is simply the universe honoring the contract you signed with your behavior. But your transformation does not stop at your own life. Something happens to people in your presence that they cannot fully explain. They become more honest. They become more careful about their words. They begin to question the chaos they previously accepted as normal. You do not lecture them or lead campaigns. You simply exist at a frequency that makes pretense uncomfortable and truth attractive. This is the ripple effect of an activated soul. You become an involuntary mirror. People either rise to meet your energy or they distance themselves naturally. Either outcome serves the mission. You are quietly rewriting the standard of what is acceptable simply by refusing to lower yourself to what is not. Across this planet right now, thousands of souls are moving through the exact same activation you just experienced. They chose silence when attacked. They held integrity when betrayal would have justified chaos. They maintained composure when the entire situation was designed to unravel them. These souls are being activated simultaneously in different cities, different cultures, different circumstances, but carrying the same ancient assignment. You are not isolated in this. You are part of a global network of truth anchors whose collective frequency is shifting the spiritual atmosphere of the entire earth. When you strengthen yourself, you strengthen all of them. You are never working alone, even when it feels that way. If this message reached you, it was not by accident. Algorithms do not govern what a soul needs to hear at the exact right moment. That is a different kind of intelligence entirely. You were brought here because something in you needed to be confirmed, and now it has been. Do not let this moment pass without making a decision. Subscribe, because what is coming next in this series was written specifically for the version of you that just woke up. Comment 777 below if you felt this in a place words cannot fully reach. Share this with someone whose silence you have always admired but never understood. And stay until the very end, because the most important part has not been said yet.